Hi, so I'm going to be answering your questions in this video, and if I'm looking down or at a piece of paper, it's because I printed everyone's questions out and I just have some notes that I put. So here we go. So Eddie Duke asks, what does it mean if your birthday falls in a full moon transit? So what this really means is that it's going to be a very significant year for you in terms of emotional release and processing. The actual day itself will probably be very intense, but it's going to more so be the beginning of a year-long cycle. It is in essence linking up your sun and moon energy for the next year and challenging you to push through certain emotional blocks that might be in the way of your full personality coming through, or being able to fully understand yourself and who you are. It's really going to be a journey in terms of your ego and your self-identity. It also really is important what sign is your sun in, what sign is the moon in while this is happening, what house is this happening. There are really a lot of details that I can't really go into, but in essence, that's really what it signifies. HJ asks, oh, never mind, that's just a comment. Earther Witch says, I would love to hear your interpretation of hard Moon Pluto aspect in a chart. This is kind of a difficult aspect. I would say that it can create a lot of kind of dark feelings and thoughts, and it's going to be really important for you to stay very strong and very focused. You can get pulled into depression quite easily, or thinking very negative, jealous, attacking yourself or others through your mind, but it's going to give you an emotional toll. It kind of depends if this is a square or an opposition, and definitely what signs and houses everything is in, but for the purposes of, this video and just this question, it's going to take a lot of emotional mastery and self-control to really understand how to get through an aspect like that and make it work for you. Because it's really going to either be self-control or chaos are going to be the options that you're going to be able to roll with. And it's a really big, important lesson for you with this aspect is going to be learning how to let go, and how to make these energies work for you rather than against you. Stardust asks, you mentioned that Pisces at this current time is not having the best of days. And also wanting to know what it means to have Saturn square Uranus and Saturn sextile Pluto. So as far as the Pisces collective goes, yes, anyone that has pretty intense Pisces placements right now, there's just so much collective suffering and pain going on right now, and Pisces is unable to escape that. They don't get to hide from feelings that are too hard. They don't get a break. They don't get to shut them out or pretend they don't feel them. They are just so tuned into the collective consciousness, and because we are so unbalanced right now, it can be very, very uncomfortable. Depending on where it is in your chart, everyone probably taps into this in some degrees and knows how much we're suffering as a planet and as a species, and the other species that are suffering, etc. That's mostly what I meant, is that at this current time and place, it's really hard to tap into collective emotions for anyone. As far as Saturn square Uranus, again, I don't really have the placements or the signs, but it really signifies an internal struggle between following the rules and being rebellious. Saturn and Uranus can sometimes have very different viewpoints and perspectives on how they want to handle a situation, so it's likely that you're going to go back and forth between wanting to do things the right way and be structured and slow about it, and then just be completely reckless and do things in a very new and innovative way that hasn't been done before. Eventually, you're going to have to kind of learn to, if you listen to Saturn one day, listen to Uranus the next. There is sort of a middle ground, but not so much, because they have such extremely differing angles. There's not really a way for them to meet in the middle, but it's more of keeping both of them happy and realizing which to use in specific circumstances and which to use in others. Saturn sextile Pluto, it's really just following procedures and methodologies, and realizing that your own mental compass can provide you a lot of power, and listening to your own intuition and your own gut and sticking with your own moral code. So I would say that in terms of your other square that you've got going on, Saturn seems to probably win more often than not. If it's getting this boost from Pluto, you're probably going to more often than not want to just follow the rules and do things correctly, and find that your life is very transformative through this. Through kind of breaking things down and being very methodical and slow and long-term about things. But you are going to still have to let that Uranus come through in certain times, and at certain decisions, you're just going to have to throw it all out and start fresh and do something new and innovative. And likely you'll know when that moment is, because you'll have a lot of inner turmoil and conflict, and you're just going to have to play into it at times. Again, I don't have a lot more data other than just the aspects themselves here. So to Hitu says, love your videos. What do you think about Scorpio, Moon, Mars, Pluto, South Node conjunction in the 11th mean? And what does the North Node in Taurus in 5th represent? This is a bit of a loaded question. So if you have your Moon, Mars, and Pluto all conjunct in Scorpio, in the 11th house, I would say that you're very intensely concerned and active in the collective darkness, and the downfalls of society, that you're very interested in transformative actions, politics, that you're very brave and concerned and interested in revealing the truth to everyone. Not only are you very emotionally sensitive to all of the things that are going on like this, but you desire to take very serious transformative actions. As far as the North and South Node goes, I don't really read too much into that, so I'm probably not the best person to ask. But I would say with all of that heavy Scorpio energy in the 11th house, you are deeply connected to fixing what's wrong with this society, and you're very motivated to make serious positive change in the world. Karen asks, maybe you could check in with Mother Earth and see if she has a message for us. Truthfully, I think she just wants us to be patient at this moment in time. There are a lot of things that are shifting, and there's instability throughout. But what I'm getting is that we need to have a deep sense of patience, and that the gifts that we've been waiting for and that we've been praying for will be received, and that she has her own full consciousness that she's trying to work through and experience, but has a very much a bigger picture for all of us that we can't necessarily see yet. So I would say that the message right now in this moment is to be patient. And the last question here is from HJ. Can you explain, if any, the significance of animals and astrology? I've been incredibly drawn to horses my entire life, but I feel like I have some blocks that keep me from working with them. So I'm not exactly sure how to relate horses or anything to you without being able to look at your chart, but if you feel like they've been calling to you spiritually, I would definitely explore that. You could do volunteer work, get education on it to maybe have a better time or a part-time job if you want to connect physically. But if it is an animal that's showing up for guidance and protection, you don't necessarily have to be working with it as long as you're connecting with it. And animals in astrology and how they fit into each of the sign is probably its own entire video in itself. I believe there's significance, but it's definitely changed in modern times. And these videos don't upload if I don't do them within 10 minutes, so I love all of you guys, and this was a lot of fun.